What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's always a huge thanks for coming back. We really appreciate you. Well, for one, we're still working on Bryce's truck. We're doing pretty good progress. We have our double shield equipment arm fully designed, and we got the first prototype on the truck. And then we're also working on the track bar bracket, which I'll show you here in a little bit. But what today's video is about is one of the most important tools that I've been using to be able to make all of these parts. So as you see, we've got the pivot arm with the mock-up drag link, just made out of a PVC. And then same with the track bar. To kind of give me an idea of the angles and everything and the changes that I got to make. I guess in what I gotta make, in order to make a bracket that will fit all of that just right. And we've actually have some pretty good progress. So we have here a lot of the parts that we need for our track bar bracket. And then we're actually gonna, we had to redesign that axle truss just because, like I had mentioned in one of our previous videos, the mounting location for the track bar on the axle side was too low, so we raised it up a little bit. Again, the goal is to have the drag link and the track bar completely parallel. Anyways, here are a few of the other parts for that track bar. But again, like I said, the focus of this video is not on the truck, but on, again, like I said, one of the most important tools that I use to design these parts. One of my biggest roles in this company, my company, is actually designing the products. I'm the one that does all the R&D, all the design, all the testing, everything. So I spend a lot of time on the computer making these parts, and anything that I can do to make that process a lot faster, a lot more efficient, it's definitely worth it. And again, this tool that I've been using lately has greatly improved our efficiency. Like that pitman arm, that new track bar bracket, I was able to design it in a couple of days. Even less than that. Like on the double shear pitman arm, what took me the longest is just doing a whole bunch of little revisions to it. Like I didn't like the way this fit, the way that it was bending, so I had to figure out a way to bend it accurately and all of that. So that took a while, but the actual design process was super smooth and super fast. That's something that really helps, especially someone like me that can't sit down for a long period of time and be focused. So again, anything that speeds up that process greatly helps. And yes, as a lot of you might have already guessed it, it's my 3D scanner. I truly believe that without it, I wouldn't be able to do what I do, at least not as efficiently without it. And specifically this is the Einstar Vega by Shining 3D. This is their latest prosumer 3D scanner. Their previous one, which I also love, is the Einstar. So that one looks like this. Again, also an amazing scanner. The major benefit that this one has over that one is that this is an all-in-one unit. It's quite a bit more expensive than that other one, over $1,000 more expensive for this one than that one. But with this one, like I said, it's an all-in-one unit. You don't need it to be hooked up to a computer for it to work, and that is, to me, its biggest selling point. The biggest pain that I've had before was having to hook up everything up, having to hook up that scanner, the Einstar, to the computer, and then take the computer outside and scan what I was doing. With this thing, I can literally just scan everything on the thing, completely wireless, just like this, and then import it onto the computer. And it's a super easy process to do. Now, I'm going to show you a few of the scans. Well, I'm going to show you this one scan that I've been using and that I'm going to be using to design the new products that are coming out that are going to be going on OBS Bryce's truck. That is the track bar bracket that we're working on. Drag link, track bar. Let me actually shut off the scan, which again, that really helps me to be able to dial in all the parts, and it gets me a really close, really good starting point. And this whole scan literally took me less than 5 minutes to scan all of that under the truck. Super smooth, super clear. I believe this was a 1mm scan, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of detail, and it was able to process it super easy. The software that this machine uses, it's so nice. Definitely really love it. But just again, I'll show you guys. I got a test set up. I'll show you what this thing can do. But trust me, if you guys do any sort of stuff like this, like I do, that you're designing a lot on Fusion 360 or whatever, you know, 3D, do you do a lot of 3D designing, a lot of fabrication, a lot of 3D printing, stuff like that, this is an amazing tool. I don't have a lot of experience with 3D scanners. That was my first serious 3D scanner that I've ever owned. And again, I was super happy with that. I still am. It's an amazing product. It's just not as convenient as this one. Before that, I was actually 3D scanning with my phone because you know, you can do that, but it's garbage, honestly. At least for the stuff that we do, complete junk. I wouldn't even mess with it. Who knows, maybe in 5, 10 years, whatever, you know, that might get better. But for now, scanning on your phone does not compare to an actual 3D scanner. These things are amazing. This is the software that you get with this scanner. And it's super easy to use. I really love it. We've got a whole bunch of other scans that we've done here, like some for the pitman arm. This was for this is a good one actually to show you. So this is the 3D scan that we used for the F Super Duty to make the coil buckets and to make the radius arm brackets. Super nice, super clear, detailed scan that allowed us to use the holes that we needed. So like we used those 2 holes right there. We used the ones on the bottom. And literally the first try, they worked. They just worked. Some other stuff that I done for my friend Cody with TSW. We scanned. This one was a little bit rougher. I still wasn't fully sure how to use it. And the space was really tight. But again, I was able to get the stuff that I needed to be able to make the design that I needed to make. So anyways, let's make a scan, because I know that's what you guys are here for, and I've already been talking long enough, so let's get to it. Okay, so this is actually a super cool little model that I have of an OBS F-150. This is, I believe, by Franklin Mint, I believe is who used to make these things. And they are super accurate. Like, got full interior with the bench seat. The little center console area actually flips up and down. Working tailgate. Full undercarriage. You know, it steers. Has a little bit of suspension. You know, in the rear too. Super cool little model. Like the steering wheel actually controls the wheels, and I believe it's a 5.0. But you know, get a little engine, and you know, we'll see how well this thing scans it. We also got a little turntable to try and make this an easier process. So I'm gonna get the 3D scanner set up, and you know, we'll try and get this scan. I love this thing. Actually, I have 2 of them. My really nice one is up in that case. And then this, I bought this one because I found it afterwards pretty cheap, because it was missing a bumper and a mirror. I think that's everything that it was missing. Okay, so we're gonna turn this thing on. I believe it was already on. It was just resting. Again, if you buy this, I highly recommend that you buy it with this tripod. Definitely worth it. Now to get this scan, we're gonna scan it in HD mode, because I believe this is small enough to where we should be able to do it in HD mode. And I've never actually scanned like this with it on a tripod and with the object on a little turntable like this. Okay, let's try it. You know, like I literally just set it up, so let's see what happens. So yeah, it's scanning. So you see how it's going from gray to orange and a little bit green. The green stuff is what it determines that it's already good. That's a good scan. Oh, it lost tracking. It might be moving too fast, but that's as slow as that thing will turn. So we'll see if once it comes back around, it'll pick up the scan again. Oh, yep, sure did. And again, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just letting it scan itself. I don't even know if I can move it, to be honest with you. But it definitely loses tracking when it comes to the bed. But this time it picked it back up right away. Oh, lost the scanning. Oh, but I found it. It's looking good. And as you can see, the more it goes, the more like it looks like it's picking up. So it's definitely doing a pretty good job. I don't know how long I can let this thing go for. I feel like it's a little bit too close. Like we might need to pull it away, but I'm afraid that if I move it, it'll mess up the scan. But because as you can see, we don't have any of like the fender yet or the front of the truck, so I don't think it's picking it up. It definitely does not like the bed of the truck trying to scan it. Okay, so I don't know if this is gonna hurt it, but I'm gonna pull it back a little bit and see what happens. Because I really want to get the front of the truck, because it's definitely not picking it up at all. One thing we're gonna do is, once I'm happy with the scan right here, we're actually gonna turn the truck upside down or on its side or something to try and pick up the rest of it. Yeah, the front of the truck is definitely not in its field of view. But I'm definitely moving it and it's not affecting it, so that's good. Yeah, it's picking up the front end now. There we go. There we go. Come on. Heck yeah. So once I'm happy with the front end, we'll pause this scan, we'll flip the truck around, and we'll scan the underneath of it. I'm gonna go ahead, let this thing finish scanning, and I'll show you the finished results. And so I already did some processing. I'll show you the process here in a little bit with the next scan. But check this thing out. Like, look how well it turned out. And I know we're missing some things like this. Well, first of all, it was a that tiny thing with zero prep. Like, we didn't spray it with anything. We just left the dust that was already on the truck. But other than that, we didn't do anything else. And the scan came out this nice. Like, you can see the wiper blades right there. The little spot for the antenna. You can almost read F-150 on that. You know, so like that's a pretty decent scan of this, you know, little thing. That if I wanted to like use it for, you know, something, like I could definitely, you know, do stuff with it. But again, super cool, super accurate that we can, you know, that we're able to do stuff like this. I want to show you, I'm not going to save this, but I want to show you what the scans look like when you're done scanning it, because you might scan it and think that it looks really bad, but that's just what they call the point cloud. Like, you still got to process it. So your scans are going to look, you know, something like this, you know, like not that great. So don't freak out until you have it fully meshed, you know, and ready, because they definitely don't look that great. I didn't even use that one on the final alignment. But again, turned out really nice. So now what I want to do is go and actually scan the truck and compare the two scans and the processes of scanning both things. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're back out here in the shop, and what I want to do is basically scan this front section of Bryce's truck for our next test. I already know that there's a couple places that the scanner is going to struggle with, mainly the headlight. Just because scanners don't like black objects and they don't like clear objects either. So I'm not too confident on how this is going to scan, but I think the rest of this is going to turn out good. So I would like to scan the fender and maybe all the way up across the grill. So let's go ahead and do that. So there's a couple changes. Well, there's probably mainly just one change we got to make to the scanner to scan this bigger thing. So we're going to go from HD mode to fast mode, and this is better for bigger objects. We're still not using any markers or anything like that because I don't think we'll need them. Well, maybe we might get lost like in this bigger section of the fender, so we'll see. And then check my settings. We'll do higher resolution, so we want to be between 1 and 2.5 millimeters should be fine for something like this. You know what? Let's get texture for this. Let's see how that turns out. Okay. So we're gonna hit play. So with the texture scanning, you can see that it's actually picking up the colors of the truck. And again, like I said, it's definitely gonna struggle a little bit with that headlight. I'm not sure how much detail we'll be able to get out of it, but it's trying. So again, I don't ever use the texture scanning, just because we obviously don't need the colors. We don't need the textures. That's more for people that are like doing, I guess, like video games or, you know, stuff like that. We don't, again, like I said, we don't really need that. So we lost tracking. So I gotta try and help it find it again by going back to one of the previously scanned areas. There we go. Picked it back up. It is struggling with the grill. So again, it does lose tracking from time to time, but it usually does a pretty good job at, you know, picking it back up again. So this is a pretty hard area to scan because it's essentially just a big flat surface with not a lot of things to help it guide itself off of, and it's still doing a pretty good job, I would say. So see right here, somewhere along the way it messed up and it lost this tracking, and it's now thinking that the light is right here instead of being there. So we're gonna pause it, and we're actually gonna go back and delete that portion of the scan that is scanned wrong. So again, you can see right there that it did a double scan. So if we just go back, actually I think we were scanning that off for a little bit. But yeah, guys, like, there you go. That is the front of Bryce's truck, and we haven't, like I said, haven't even done any processing to this. This is literally just the first scan, and it came out pretty good. So what we'll do now is import this to the computer, and then I'll show you the process of actually doing the mesh and all the final processing, and then all the way to importing it to your computer. So yeah, next step is going to be to actually show you how to process the files. Now there's two ways to process this. Like I said, this is literally an all-in-one unit. It has everything you need built into the actual scanner. You don't need a computer to even process the files. The first thing you can do here on this scanner is to actually delete parts of the scan that you might not want. So to do that, we're going to go over here to the little scissors, click on that, and I believe you just we'll do the lasso. It's a little bit easier to work with. And yeah, so you can just literally drag your finger and then choose everything that you want to delete. If you see on the upper left hand side, it does a little like magnifying glass to show you what you're selecting. So once you select it and let it go, it'll highlight it red. At that point, you can go over here to the little trash can and delete it, and it's gone. So you can see we missed a little speck, so we'll go ahead, click again, and then just select that, and then boom, it's gone. You know what? That's good enough. That's all we need right now. So we'll hit complete, confirm, and that's what we have right now. So now, again, that's just a point cloud, and what we want to do is turning into a mesh. So you can do this little magic wand right there, and that's basically one-click processing. That's the easiest way to do it. So we've got HD mode and fast mode. In HD mode, it'll be 1 millimeter, and it'll take about 13 minutes to process. In fast mode, it'll go up to 2.5 millimeters, and it'll take about 10 minutes to process. Part of that, I believe, is because we did the texture scanning, which is the color. I didn't mean to hit yes. So I think that also makes the scan a little bit harder to process. So you can also do this manually, so you can choose your resolution. I do want it at about 1 millimeter. So to use that full 1 millimeter, we actually need to process it on a computer. So we'll go to that 1 millimeter right there. Well, I should maybe do 1.23. Everything else looks fine, so we can hit apply, and it'll start meshing. Okay, guys, so after a couple minutes of processing, this is what we got. Like, that's really cool. That's Bryce's truck that is now, digital on our 3D scanner. It doesn't really pick up the shiny black surfaces all that well, but like everything else, like, again, say that, I don't know, maybe we wanted to make a bumper and we wanted to have a model that we could go off of. We could literally do it with this thing, which is super awesome. So now the last thing that I want to show you is how to do everything we just did on the computer. This is Einstar. This is the software that you use with this 3D scanner, and this is basically our homepage. These are all the projects that I get to work on. So we're gonna connect the scanner. It's already connected to the computer, and it should hopefully come up with the prompt. Yep, there we go. So, okay, so I had to reconnect the cord. So we're gonna go into file transfer mode, which is gonna connect to the computer. And as you can see, there is the scan that we just did. So we're gonna click on it, and then we're gonna import it to our model library. Or you can do it to a workspace. Either one will work. And we're just going to give that a few minutes to load. There's actually a second way that we can import a file onto the computer. So the first way that I showed you was obviously directly to our library. The other way that you could do it is actually from your workspace. So we're on our workspace right now. We're gonna go ahead and hit new. And one thing that I just realized is that since I just use this to import the files, I never actually name the workspaces. That's okay. So anyways, we're gonna go to new. And then we're gonna go to import from scanner. And again, we're gonna choose Bryce's truck, confirm, and we'll give it a second to upload again. So again, if you want to be pretty efficient and fast about this, just go directly to your workspace and import it from the scanner like that, or just save it directly to your library. That way you know that it's on there. Okay, so now that we have our model in our workspace, there's a few things that we can do here. The only thing that I'm really gonna show you how to do here right now, because we can't really do the other things, is how to trim. So again, or how to crop. But you go to your little scissor tool, your cropping tool, you choose that, and then, you find something that you want to cut out. Like, we don't really need this piece of frame right here. So you hold shift on your keyboard, you click, and again, you select whatever you want to delete. So we want to delete that. Let's see. You know what? I don't want this other hinge over here either. So let's delete that. Okay. Oh, and then you know what? I don't want to delete this part of the antenna. So we're going to select, I believe it's Control. Yep. So Control essentially deselects whatever you might not want to delete. And then I also don't want this stuff here in the engine bay. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. And again, I like processing stuff like this on the computer a lot better Like if you have a lot of things that you want to clean up and delete from a scan, it's definitely a lot easier to do it from the computer than from the scanner itself. You got a lot more control on the computer. So there we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll leave the rest. So with all that deleted, we'll hit finish, let it process, and it should be pretty good. Yep, there we go. So now, the other thing that you could do is do an alignment. Again, we only have one scan here, so I can't really show it to you. I'll show you. I'll go back to our model of our scan, our scan of our model truck, and I'll show you how to do that here in a little bit. You can also export from here, but before we export anything, we gotta do the actual mesh. So again, we've got one-click processing, and then we have generate mesh, which is essentially the manual process. Again, I'm just gonna do the manual process because it seems like I get better luck with that. And then we'll process this 1.25 millimeters. A little bit of smoothing this, texture mapping. Okay, so we're gonna hit preview, see what it does. Again, sometimes it actually processes better on the scanner itself than on the computer. So hopefully this isn't too big of a scan and it doesn't have too many problems. We did do a pretty fine resolution, so it might, struggle a little bit. But nope, there we go. It scanned it. Again, you do get this texture. I'm not sure what that's from, to be honest with you. But like everything else is on there, See, like stuff like this is definitely a little bit weird. And I couldn't really tell you what that's from. Maybe that's due to the texture stuff that we were doing. Not really sure. And then over here, it didn't fully scan everything, but it didn't really focus too much on there. I wasn't planning on scanning this fender anyways, but I kind of got carried away, so I went ahead and scanned all of it. I kind of just wanted to scan up to like this headlight. Which again, I have no idea why that happened. Like this stuff right here. Because as you can see, like on this side, it did a lot better. You didn't get any of that stuff. But for whatever reason, on the other side, it got it. Again, that is so strange that it did that. I've never gotten anything like that on this scanner before. And here's the actual scan with the texture that we did. Which, like, see? When we added the texture, you can't see those ripples on the scan. So I'm guessing that maybe... So I guess, again, like I said, I had never done a scan with the texture because I never need it. So I don't know if that affected it or what happened. But other than that, like, pretty cool scan. Like, this is ready to go on a video game or something. It does need a lot more work. But, again, pretty cool. And we were able to do this super fast, really, really easily, Again, if I was gonna do this, I would do the scan without the texture. It would probably process better, faster, and it wouldn't give us these problems. But anyways, regardless, pretty cool. Okay, guys, so the last thing that I want to show you is that alignment feature. That's what it's called, right? Yeah, alignment feature, because like remember when we did the scan of this model truck, we took multiple scans, and now we're essentially going to combine it into one solid scan. So we already have our truck uploaded to our workspace, so we're going to go ahead to that little puzzle piece. That's the alignment. We're going to click on that, and then on your left-hand side, we're going to have our models. So we'll choose one, and then we'll choose the next one, and then we can do two things. We can try and do an auto alignment. So, once you have both imported into both windows, just go down to alignment. Most of the time, this doesn't really work too well for me, but this time it actually did. It aligned it. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to list. And then we're gonna add more to that same one. So we're gonna go to alignment result, and then we're gonna go to our last model. This is gonna be on the other side now, which is a little bit more detail on the front end, I believe, hopefully. We'll hit alignment again. See, yeah, the auto alignment actually worked really well. So we're gonna go ahead, add that to the list. And I mean, we're pretty much done at that point. If you click on your alignment, the last one, that gives you the whole model. And again, like I said, I know that it doesn't look that good right now, that well right now. So what we're gonna do is go ahead and actually mesh it. So we'll see. We'll try and go full resolution on this thing and see what happens. Okay, guys, and there we go. We have our final model scanned and everything. And not gonna lie, looks good. Looks really good. Like, again, for the stuff that I do, this is perfect. This is, you know, more than I need. Well, again, most of the time I'm never gonna scan anything this small, but again, it does work really well. So again, the last thing I want to show you is how to export this and import it into like Fusion 360. Okay, so I saved it as an STL. And I have my Fusion 360 open, so we're gonna go to insert, and then we're gonna go to mesh, and then select from my computer, find wherever you have that file, saved, import. One thing that you always want to do is make sure that you go from inches to millimeters, hit OK, and there you go. Now that we have this on the computer, again, it's a super nice, good model that we can use to work with. The only thing to keep in mind is that you can't actually like draw on the model itself or work off of it. You would have to do a lot more, you know. You would have to actually turn it into a 3D model that you can use. So the way that I use these things is just as a reference to kind of get an idea of where things need to be and for scale and all that stuff. I don't actually draw off of them, so that, you know, like, if you try and do a line, it's not going to actually draw on the surface of the truck. Which, you know, it's unfortunate, but still, it provides a lot of value just being able to have a model like this on your computer to use as reference. So, again, super cool, super handy. And again, we didn't really do any cleanup work. Like, you know, if we were actually using this, I would have deleted all of this, you know, sponges right there, but you know, this is just for a quick video. You guys need one of these. If you do a lot of fabrication, if you're on the computer like this a lot, this thing is definitely worth the investment. I wish I could have bought or had something like this way earlier. I'll leave you guys a link to their website. That way, if you guys want to pick one up, you definitely can. And if you have any other questions about this thing, if you want me to show anything else, because I'm still going to be probably showing it in videos, just because it's such a big part of what I do. Definitely, you know, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you want me to go over. And just again, guys, a huge thank you for watching, for liking. If you made it all the way through this video, again, a huge thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Next week, we're going to work on Bryce's truck, install all the new parts that we made, possibly, hopefully, also the cradle for the 4-link. So again, subscribe, stay tuned, and we'll see you next week.